Hello lovelies, my name is Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. So this week, as you can tell by the title of this video, we are doing another story time, yay! You guys enjoyed the last story time so much, even though it's kind of a somber subject, so I thought I would do another one because I like giving you what you like because you're my loyal subscribers and we kind of have a nice back and forth going here. But before we get started, don't forget to click that subscribe button and also maybe, you know, the notification bell if you feel like it, if you want to see more story times in the future. That way you won't miss them. And if you enjoy this video at the end, please feel free to give it a thumbs up or even a thumbs down if you didn't like it. I mean, who knows, you may have terrible taste. And also guys, don't forget to head on over to my second channel, My Crazy Trans Life, just there, where I post vlogs and behind the scene videos more unfiltered than the ones on my main channel. It would mean a lot to me. You know you want to do it. So this story time, as you can tell already, is the time I came out. This is going to be a compilation of how I came out to my family and also how I came out at school. One of those did happen before the other one and it's not the way around that you think it should be. So please stay tuned and let's get on with the video. So, as I mentioned just there, I did come out at school before I came out at home. So, a lot of people in the LGBT community, there's this thing called buy now, gay later. So for myself, this equated to gay now, trans later. Because I came out as gay before I came out as trans. I came out as gay probably when I was about 12 years old. So I had been called gay and feminine and things like that since primary school. I was really severely bullied for being a more effeminate boy when I was younger. Ever since I was probably about the age of 3, I think people thought I was going to be gay. It just turned out to be a lot more than that, I suppose. So I had these feelings kind of building up for a really, really long time. And then in my first year of secondary school, I decided to come out as gay. And I didn't come out as bi, I just came out as gay because I thought it was kind of the best way to kind of define myself. I didn't know what transgender was at the time. So it kind of felt really natural for me to come out as gay in school. I don't remember how I came out as gay. I think it just kind of happened one day. I did start seeing a boy when I was about 11 years old. He was my first kiss. Hi, Josh. So that's kind of the beginnings of how I came out at school. Then when I went into my second year, so I had been receiving some counselling at school for what I just believed to be kind of strange feelings, but I had always been really effeminate and honestly I kind of always wanted to be a girl, and I talked to the counsellors about that and through that, and we kind of discovered that I might have this thing called gender dysphoria. So finding out that I had gender dysphoria was kind of a key turning point to me. Me and my counsellor were sat in a counselling room, obviously, and we were talking about the things I was feeling and the emotions I was feeling, and we kind of realised that I had gender dysphoria and I wasn't just gay and things like that, and this was really a light bulb kind of moment for myself because up until that point I just thought I was gay or that there might be kind of something wrong with me. And then the second she told me and the second I found out that transitioning to become a woman was an option, it suddenly seemed like the only option. So once I had been told that I was suspected to have gender dysphoria, it kind of started to snowball for me. So I didn't come out immediately. I actually waited until the middle point of my second year, so I would have been about 12 years old. And what happened when I was 12 years old is I started to experiment a little bit more. There was kind of a flower in my hair here and maybe stealing my sister's bra and wearing it to school kind of over there. Little bit of eyeliner, a little bit of makeup, you know, all of those things kind of started to sneak in, and I still hadn't told anyone, but everyone was still assuming that I was just kind of gay and I was experimenting and things like that. And there was a key turning point for me in my secondary school education which led to me coming out, and that's when a teacher whose name will not be mentioned, I was in her class, I was in a cooking class, and I had a flower clipped in my hair, and she called my dead name and said, "Take that flower out of your hair." And I said, "Why?" I'm expressing myself. And she said, "Because I don't know what you are with it in your hair." This led to disciplinary for the teacher because that was a ridiculous statement to have made. But this was really a key turning point for me because I was presenting more feminine and I had been seeing my counsellor for ages and I was suspected to have gender dysphoria. So the next stages for me were to come out to my friends at school and tell them that I was trans, and to go to school with no makeup on, put makeup on when I get to school, start tweezing my eyebrows and things like that. So as I've talked about on this channel before, school and secondary school in particular really were really difficult for me, and I really struggled in school. But when I came out to my friends, it obviously got out to everyone else that I was wanting to be a girl, and that resulted in a lot of bullying, and I was suffering a lot with my mental health and things like that, and I was really struggling in school because no one at home knew and nothing like that happened. So that's kind of how I came out at school. Just really casually one day at lunch, I told my very close friends, and I really regret doing this because when you're in school, you can't trust your friends. So they obviously told everybody and it got out. And then my coming out to my family felt really rushed because I had come out at school first, but now people were telling everybody, and I kind of had no choice but to come out to my parents. So how did I come out to my family, and how did that kind of go and things like that? I came out to my family in stages. I came out to my mum first. I remember it was a Monday. I don't remember which Monday. I wish I could remember. But it was a Monday because my dad used to go out and play pool on a Monday. So he would be gone from the house from like 7 in the evening until kind of late at night, and we wouldn't see him again. So I knew I had to do it on a Monday because I wanted to do it with my mum on her own, because at the time I had a really bad relationship with my dad. So me and my mum were sat in the living room and we were watching television, and I remember I had like really geared myself up mentally to do it, and then our next door neighbour came around and they were just kind of like yapping away in the kitchen, and I was like, this is my moment, I need to tell her. And I was really emotional, so I stood up from the sofa. We had just finished watching our programme and I stood up from the sofa. I walked towards the kitchen door and I opened the kitchen door. My mum was stood there with my next door neighbour, so I also came out to my next door neighbour at the first time as my mum, so she should feel very privileged. And I will never not regret the way I told my mum, because the way I told my mum was just kind of really incorrect. So the terminology I used was wrong. I was very young. I used the wrong wording and things like that. So I was in my head, I was emotionally ready. I was gonna go and tell her. And I said, Mum, I need to tell you something. And I remember her being really impatient and being like, I'm talking to our next door neighbour, can it wait a few minutes? And I said, no, it can't. You know, really dramatic, because that's the type of person I am. Super drama, left and right. And so I literally shouted at her. You can ask my mum, she will attest to this. I shouted at her this exact phrase. I have been diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Now, I have always hated the fact that I use the word diagnosed, because I had not been diagnosed because my parents would have known. So I literally just yelled this at her and my next door neighbour, and she kind of looked at me like, what does that mean? And I just cried. And I was so upset because I was like emotionally ready to do all of it, and I just cried. And honestly, the rest of that evening is kind of a blur because I don't know what she said next, but I just ran up to my room because I had like told her and that was what I needed to do, and I spoke to her, and she, you know, was with our next door neighbour, so I thought she wouldn't really want to talk about it, and I just ran up to my room. So later that evening, my dad comes up to my room. I lived in the attic at the time, so he literally climbed up the ladder to my room and tried to be as compassionate as possible. Mum had obviously told him, and he came into my room and he said, what's going on? And I just said, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it with you. I don't want to talk about it, and kind of sent him away. So that is how I initially came out to my parents. This then led to a doctor's appointment. I asked my parents to take me to a doctor who referred me to our local therapy clinic. And my sister found out this way as well. So I remember me and my sister having an interaction where we were sat down and she said, it's okay to just be gay, you can just be gay. And to me at the time that was really damaging, and I kind of hold that as like trauma, which it isn't, and she didn't mean anything by it. She just thought that I was looking for, I guess, attention, which I think my whole family thought I was looking for attention, so I was a very needy child. But it was really damaging to me at the time. Our first therapy session was really strange, and we all sat in a circle and we spoke about kind of what I need and things. And I cried and my sister cried. And in the appointment, my older sister basically said that I was doing it for attention, which I will never forget. And it's something that has stuck with me for such a long time. And when we walked out of the appointment, I remember my dad saying that we could medicate the problem out of me. And I don't think he meant anything by it, but I have never been able to forget his words when he said, we'll just get you some drugs to get it out of you. And I remember crying and going to my mum, and my mum kind of didn't understand why that was wrong, to kind of think, you know, maybe we can fix him and things like that. So then following on from the therapy session, my parents asked me not to come out while my sister was still at school. So my older sister and I were at school at the same time. I was in year 8 and she was in year 10 to 11. And I just saw this as my family being really against me and being like, we don't accept you, we don't think you're ready to do this. And I just knew in my heart that it was my time to kind of come out and things like that. So because I had already told people at school, it was already spreading around anyway. So I started to present as a girl at school, and I hadn't legally changed my name yet, but I started to look like a girl. And I think my sister had a really hard time with it. But at the time I was like, I don't care. I only care about myself. I just want to be happy, which is fair enough. And when you come out, that is really kind of the mentality that you need to have. But I really didn't take into consideration how it would have affected her schooling, which it did. So that's always something I kind of look back and regret. So that's it. That's how I came out. That's how I came out at school, and that's how I came out to my family. I did kind of have later coming out issues of like college and university and things like that. So yeah, that is how I did it. I hope you enjoyed this kind of story time. It was a bit kind of rambly and kind of pieced together, but it happened a really long time ago. As always, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment down below any questions you have. I read all of the comments, so please do comment them just down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to head on over to my second channel, My Crazy Trans Life, and subscribe to me there so you can see more fun videos from me. Okay, my lovelies, I will see you very soon for another video. Bye!